We were talking about that last week in terms of the recycling. If you were at Mikel Arteta moving forward now, who would you play as that front four to make it as exciting as possible?
I think horses for courses. I think, they go to Leeds at the weekend, I play Martinelli because there'll be a lot of space. Leeds will have a go. When they go and play at home next week against someone and they sit 10 behind the ball, I don't think Martinelli's got the guile of a Trossard. And then I think that's when you play Trossard. But Trossard's only going to be as good as a centre-forward where you can flick it inside, give it and 1-2s. Yep. I mean, you see the Man United goal the other day. Fernandes makes the goals with his 1-2s, do you know what I mean? It's just the vision.
And Kobe Manu, that link.
Yeah, it's just that
the link's not there,
you don't get that link at Arsenal. And that's where I think they struggle, and I think they will struggle at home at games because they haven't got the guile. I love Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice is superb, but he's not going to put the ball through the eye of a needle for you. Do you know what I mean?
Eze should.
Eze should. Yeah. But Eze, again, I watched him last week. Eze plays no other person. He plays very, he's relaxed, he's cool. But you can't do that. The fans at Arsenal, he got it the other day and he's looking up and he's waiting and they're all screaming. And you're like, just let him play. He will make something happen. Just let him play. But again, he's got to get used to it because it's all right, if he'd have lost at Man United with Palace, it didn't matter. I mean, it didn't matter. Like now he must be coming off the pitch going, we're getting slated. We're 4 points clear, top of the Champions League, near on in the Carabao Cup final, in the next round of the FA Cup with a winnable game. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll be sitting there now in the dressing room thinking, what's going on here? You know what I mean? And it hasn't even started yet. What is it, 15 games? Yeah. It's not even started yet. It's 8 when it gets down to about 7 or 8, and then that is it. At the moment...
Well, if they're nervous now, they'll be nervous then, won't they?
Yeah,
that's when
I watched them against Forest. I mean, Forest game reminded me of a bit like England against Italy in the Euros with Gareth. You're 1-0 up, you just go for it. What's the worst thing? We're just talking a point. Like, if they'd have won one and lost one, they got more points than 2 draws. And, people go, oh, still 38 games undefeated. But no, you win football matches. I think they should have just gone at Forest and just absolutely... I mean, what you said on the telly when it went 2-1, they've got to go for it. They've just got to go for it. If it ends up being 3 and 4, who cares?
Yeah.
You've got to go for it.
Will Mikel Arteta, do you think, ever be that coach, though, that does go for it? I mean, historically, when I look at Arsenal, Arsene Wenger probably was the most frequent, but George Graham back in the day wasn't deemed as being a defensive coach, even though he was deemed as being a defensive coach, wasn't he? 1-0 to the Arsenal.
That's what he's saying.
But that's coming now. I mean, I heard him called South Stoke the other day, but to be fair, that was just something on the... You know what I mean?
Who, what?
South Stoke, basically. Do you play long throws and set pieces?
Is that what they're called? No.
Just won every game in the...
That's what someone called them. I know, South Stoke. That's what someone called them the other day.
Delighted, yeah. They didn't get a South game,
I know, yeah.
Yeah, but because of the actual long throws, the set pieces, struggling to score goals from open play, will he ever be that sort of what would be progressive coach that you're talking about there? Because I like Arsenal. I think they're a brilliant team, but...
Yeah, no, I think they're a brilliant team. I think where they are by not being a brilliant team. It's hard, yeah. I don't know. It's difficult one to call. I just think at the moment, it's fine lines. Like Man United game, they grind them down first 20 odd minutes. They go in front, and you're thinking this will be it. And then, I mean, everybody goes on about Zubimendi. But the pass from the centre half, what's he do? Just roll it back and then he whacks it at him. You know,
That's what we do. That's what we do. Panic.
And everybody goes, oh, Zubimendi don't make their mistakes. It's not him. It's a 5-yard pass. Just roll it. And then if he rolls it here, he can put it there. And if he rolls it here, he goes back there. And then all of a sudden they get nervous. But everybody, I talk to Arsenal fans, they go, what do you reckon? I go, oh, they'll win it. They'll win it. They will win it, in my opinion. But Arsenal fans are like, no, I'm not yet.
You think they're winning because of their doing or because of how bad the rest is, really? I don't think the rest is great.
No, the rest ain't great. Man City ain't great at the moment. I don't see Man City going flawless to the end of the season. I just don't see it. Villa are hanging around. They are hanging. Fair play to them, and they should get a bit of respect because there's a lot of games gone. We're not like 7, 8 games in. We're 20-odd games. But there's no Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? Tottenham ain't great where Tottenham could take points off Arsenal and, Man United, they have. But they played Man United at the wrong time. There's timings.
Yeah.
I always look towards the end of the season, it'll all be about timings. 5 weeks ago, playing Man United at home was a give me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? All playing in the wrong positions, ain't got a clue, ain't really. The manager keeps on coming out. He wants to get sacked.
Yeah.
You know, every Saturday he's sitting at the airport with his bags and waiting. And then they go, you've got to go back. And he's like, I've got to go back now. But that's how it felt. It did feel like that every time he'd come in. I would sack me if I, you know, who wouldn't, you know, who wouldn't sack me? And then he gets to the airport, he's sitting there and his wife's going, how long will you be? And I'm just waiting. And he doesn't. The airport closes and he's got to go back. You know, it's like Chelsea played Crystal Palace last week. You know, 10 games without a win, Palace. About 2 months ago, Palace away is a hard game. It's a hard game. It'll all be about timings. You know, you could look at games now, you go, oh, we've got to play these and these. But they could have won 5 on the trot by the time they come around again. So, but for me, I still think Arsenal win it. I do. I think this could be a blessing in disguise, that result against Man United. And you've got to remember, it's Man United. You know, they've got top players. You know what I mean? They're all playing in their right positions, as Scholes, he said. They can all play. It's a back pass and 2 worldies. Raya never made another save.
Yeah.
So it weren't like the Liverpool game where I thought they got ripped to shreds in the second half against Liverpool. Even though Liverpool didn't look like scoring, it was the way they were ripping them apart. So, you know, I think that's what they got to look at, the positives, and a game at a time. But, yeah, I'll go with him.
Stick to Football is brought to you by Arm Clothing. Take us back to young Paul Merson and...
I won't be here now. He'll be out. How young are we going?
When you go into professional football, what is that person like at that time?
Shy. Yeah.
Shy?
Yeah, very shy. Yeah, struggled with shyness. Yeah, quiet. It was all right when I was around the lads, but away from that, fear. Yeah, hating myself with a passion.
You said that twice now. What was it? You said that about being in your own body.
Yeah,
and sort of hating
my
yourself.
own skin.
That's so unusual to hear from a young football player. When I think of a young 15, 16-year-old football player, usually they're the brash ones in the sort of what would be the school, because they're obviously at a football club. They can play football. They're athletic. You know, in the team, they're confident. And you are saying the exact opposite.
Never like that. Yeah, always completely. You know, even when I was playing at the top level and playing at Arsenal, winning trophies, I'd always be the same, unless I had a drink and then I was a bit, you know, a bit leery, a bit loud. But otherwise, I was very, you know, I'd sit in places and we'd be sitting in and someone would come in who was shit and they bowl in like that and they stroll in and I'd be sitting there and I'd be going, you're useless.
Was that me and Phil with England?
No.
Me and Phil walking in like...
No. Where's it come from? Because that's learned behaviour. Why was you shy and tentative and in yourself?
I don't know, yeah.
Where's it come from?
I don't know. It's just something you have. I'm an addict, so, you know, I don't know where that come from itself. Do you know what I mean? But that's what got me out of being myself is, you know, drink, drugs and gambling. They took me away from the way I felt. And I never turned up at England and thought, oh, yeah, I'm here, I should be here. I always felt, nah, I'm a fraud.
But we played with you with England and, you know, you would go out on the pitch, you'd be one of the best players technically. We never would have read that, obviously, at the time in terms of how you were. But there's 2 different things. One is saying you're shy, but one's saying that you basically hate yourself and you don't like yourself.
Yeah.
Where does that come from in terms of sort of what was it that, like, at a young age, at 14, 15...
Yeah, I struggled with nerves. You know, I had bad anxiety when I was a kid. It was called palpitations, and my heart would always...
Okay.
You know, I had to come off the pitch a lot of times when I was a kid. You know, and my mum took me to the doctors and started saying, get nervous and my heart beating under my... And the doctor just went, stop playing football.
Wow.
Just stop. You need to stop playing football. And, you know, I carried on and I learned how to do it. I'd be at the back of the coach sometimes with a brown paper bag. Yeah. Trying to breathe.
For Arsenal,
yeah, trying to breathe. You know, I remember playing in reserves against Peter Bonetti was in goal at Chelsea at the time. And my mum and dad are there, and at half time I didn't even come out second half. I couldn't breathe. Yeah, I used to get real bad panic attacks. I had to sleep with pillars up so I wasn't laying flat.
But I think now, a lot of people are aware of panic attacks, of anxiety. Yeah. But, you know, go back, you know, go back to our sort. I never heard those words mentioned at all in terms of, sort of, particularly in a football dressing room. What was there for you back then to be able to sort of help deal with that? Who would you go to?
A dealer.
Seriously, Merce.
That's the only thing that would get me out, you know, that or a bet or a drink. They were the 3 things. They were the only 3 things, and 3 o'clock on a Saturday. As soon as I crossed that white line, then that was my time. For an hour and a half, I can go and play. And get me wrong, sometimes I had bad games. But usually I'll go out and enjoy it because I knew there was so much going on in my life.
When was that point where you just sort of said that I'm an addict? When was the first point where you sort of realised that, you know, this is not right, and you felt you went and spoke to someone?
90, I think it was, end of 94, we played a dance in the Cup Winners' Cup, and my heart was coming out my top. And then I just thought, wow, I can't keep on doing this. I was addicted badly at the time. My nose was caving in.
How old are you then, Merce?
94, so I was 26.
Right.
26. And I went and see Ken Fry and I said, I'm struggling here, I need help badly. You know, and they had a rough inkling. I had an injury once when I was training, my ankle just blew up like that. They got the PFA in, it was Mike Parry at the time, remember? Mike Parry does the Scouse, who done Talk Sport.
Oh, right,
He was in charge of he was big at the FA then.
Training now, reporter Gail Davis is there for us. Hi Gail, we've been asking about Odegaard and Saka and about their fitness. Any sign of them?
Yeah, very good morning, guys. They are just beginning to come out for training. If I was them, I'd wait in the gym for the last possible minute as well. That looks like the last lot of them, the likes of Jesus, Gabriel, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Noni Madueke, have just wandered out. Few of the others on their way now. If we swing round, the likes of Gabriel and Declan Rice and Eze just walking out. We're just doing the counts, Tom, but no sign of either Saka or Odegaard, and perhaps not really surprising. We know Saka, don't we, pulled out in the warm-up before the Leeds game. A little bit of a muscular problem for him. Waiting for an update on Mikel Arteta tomorrow when he does his news conference ahead of the Sunderland game, but reports suggesting he will miss the next few games. So that's Sunderland, Brentford and then Wigan in the Cup. So the North London derby might be the next time that Arsenal fans get to see him. In terms of Odegaard, that's a little bit of a mystery as well. No update from Arsenal. Again, it'll be one for Mikel Arteta tomorrow. He was on the bench up in that win against Leeds and then missed the Chelsea game altogether. So those guys aren't out there. Not seeing Jurrien Timber either. And the press officer alongside me is assuring me he's not there either. But otherwise, it looks like everybody else you would expect at this point to be out there training. And just a shout out, you can tell Mikel Arteta's in a good mood because he saw that it was absolutely pouring and demanded someone get me an umbrella. So yeah, he seems to be in good spirits after that semi-final win against Chelsea on Tuesday night.
What a gentleman, that's what I would say. What a gentleman.
Kai Havertz is back. How much of a boost is that for Arsenal now he's back for the remainder of the season?
Yeah, he was out nice and early, obviously making the most of every minute. And I just think when you saw the way that he finished on Tuesday night particularly, there was no doubt in his mind. He had Martinelli, didn't he, alongside him? He was like, I'm having this myself. And then you saw the celebration and you saw the pylon from all of the players. You know just how much that meant to him. He's so well liked in this group. I sat down with Odegaard last week and we talked about how popular he is in the side, how much he's loved, how hard he works. He is absolutely one of Mikel Arteta's favourites. And he's not necessarily going to get you the goals of an out-and-out number 9, is he? But what he can produce in his own unique way, it is quite special, isn't it? That finish was great on the weekend, but it's the way Martin Odegaard said to me that he links up that attacking play, the way that he can unlock those defences in the Premier League. And we know that Arsenal have just stuttered, haven't they, up until that Leeds game in breaking them some of those low blocks down. He could just provide something a little bit special when Arsenal really need him. I mean, he's feeling his way back into fitness. It didn't look like it, did it, when he scored on Tuesday night, because it has been kind of almost a year since he started a game, and yeah, he's feeling his way back in, but absolutely crucial. And how many times over the last couple of years have we talked about key injuries in Arsenal players around this time and things being derailed? It's the flip, isn't it, of having somebody like him back in there. And of course we just saw Gabriel Jesus as well. So that's the other option that Arsenal have been missing for such a long time to call on if Gyökeres isn't doing what you want him to do in front of goal.
Okay, Gail, thank you. Let's talk about Arsenal with our guest Charlie Austin first. They're still in 4 competitions. Quadruple is on. How many trophies will they win?
Quadruple is still on, of course, and they're deep in them competitions. That's what Arsenal built that squad for. We go from them not winning a trophy since winning that FA Cup to now them. The more I look at it, I think they'll just be the one.
Which one?
I think they'll win the league, the Premier League. The know-how of Man City of winning and how serious Pep Guardiola has taken the Carabao Cup since he's been in charge at Man City. I just feel like City can do that, but I just think the one will be the Premier League for Arsenal. And Arsenal fans will take that, by the way, and everyone associated with Arsenal. Let's not. If you offered all 4 trophies to Arsenal and said pick one what you'd want, all of them would say the Premier League.
Quadruple's also on for
No, don't. Come on. Correct, it is. Now, this could be the biggest turning point in it, which makes it exciting. Man City win the League Cup, then what's the knock-on effect does that have to Arsenal? Because Man City's confidence will be up high. It's the first trophy that's available, and Arsenal haven't been able to get it and able to achieve it. So where does it go for the next 10, 12 games of the remainder of the Premier League season? You'd back Man City to win the quadruple over Arsenal more confidently. I would.
How important is it for Arsenal to have Kai Havertz back, not just because he's a goal threat, but also assists too?
Listen, he's massive. He showed that the other night when we scored the winner to get them to the final, but secure them in the final. I think he's a massive player to them. The style of play that Arsenal play to when he's playing as a number 9 suits them, and it suits him way more than it does, obviously, Gyökeres. So to have him back for the remainder of the season is a massive uplift for Arsenal.
And in terms of Victor Gyökeres, 11 goals this season, 4 of them have come in the last 7 games. Have you seen any improvement in him since the start of the season?
No. In what way though, Tom? To performance-wise, because we say 4 in the last 7, 11 in total. That's all competitions. They play in 4 competitions. They go deep in the competitions. I'll give him his defence. I do not think Arsenal play to a number 9, in which he is an out-and-out number 9. Play opposite wingers. Don't really play to his strengths at certain times. So he is almost coming under criticism because the team is not playing towards him. But it's not just about him because the team are performing and they're top of the league.
But when Havertz was in midfield in midweek last week in the Champions League, it looked like Havertz was playing for Gyökeres. So if you're going to start Gyökeres, would you play Havertz in midfield ahead of Odegaard and Eze?
The Eze one is a difficult one because you don't know what's going on that side. On that side, everyone will be like, why is he not playing? But I'll play Havertz over Odegaard because what we've seen from Odegaard this year, and everybody's saying his performances have not been good enough for a team that's at the top. Now, all it takes is for one centre-forward to have a good link-up play with a midfielder or a full-back or a wide player, and then it can set him off. And this could be something that Victor Gyökeres needs. Havertz to be fit in the 10. And if they can get a relationship together, then that only explodes Arsenal onto another level.
Well, we've talked about Arsenal's threat from set pieces a lot this season, but Chelsea, a couple of nights ago, came up with an interesting tactic. It was a Tuesday night, wasn't it, where they left 3 players on the halfway line for those set pieces, and they didn't concede from a set piece. Do you think we might see that more often?
Well, people have got to try and ruffle the feathers, haven't they, with Arsenal? Because everyone goes back, you look at the corner, there's almost 18, 19 players inside the 18-yard box. They cause a loads of chaos in the box. Now, Liam has tried to change that and get more players out of the box. It'd be interesting to see if they concede when they do that, because if, for argument's sake, Chelsea conceded then they'll bring all the players back. But they've got to try and find a new dimension to it, opposition teams do, because they are using these set pieces. They're so effective at it.
If you've got 3 players, if you're Arsenal,
yeah,
do you not even leave 3 players back for those 3? Do you still just load the box and think, well, we're outnumbering them in the box?
Just on the off chance or whatever. You're not going to score from every set piece. As good as Arsenal...
Got a 3-man advantage, you might.
But if you're as good as of course you might, but as good as Arsenal are, there's still that risk and reward you've obviously got to play to. But to leave 3 up there, I do like the thought process of it, just in case, counter-attack, fluff, corner, keeper catch it, whatever. Then all of a sudden, you've got 3 on 2. If you don't keep 3 back, then you've got 3 or 2 against you.
What do you think this weekend? They're at home to Sunderland. Sunderland's away form isn't great, but Manchester City away at Liverpool. How pivotal could this weekend be?
Yeah, it could be pivotal. Like Sunderland, this have been brilliant this year. Give them all the plaudits, but you can't get away from their away form, right? It's been poor, but you'd expect Arsenal to win. They've been brilliant at home, so you'd expect them to win and open up that gap again before Liverpool play against City. So it could be a pivotal moment. I know we said, like Jamie Redknapp said last weekend, he said this is the weekend that Arsenal win the title. This weekend also could be the one. It really could be. If Man City go to Anfield, I know they haven't got the greatest record there. If they go to Anfield and get beat off the back of Arsenal beating Sunderland, then it really could be writings on the wall.
Right, lads. We're going to Wembley. Come on! Feels good.
Yeah, look, it's been a while, hasn't it, since Arsenal have been at Wembley. So, and look, over the years, it's been a good hunting ground for us. No, it's exciting. I'm really pleased, and I think that we, over the course of that semi-final, we absolutely deserve to go through. Chelsea, to their credit, stayed in the game, but at no point in that match against Chelsea, the second leg, did I feel that they were going to score? Did I feel that Arsenal were going to throw it away? So yeah, I think over the piece, we warrant a place in the final.
Buzzing, Clive.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy. It's been, like Adrian said, it's been a long time, and you sort of realise that the people you sit with, you see how happy everyone is around you, because Wembley's a big thing. Last time we were there, no one was there.
Yeah.
Right? So, competitively, the Community Shield was a great day, obviously, but yeah, I thought it was really, really good. The way Chelsea, I'm sure we're going to get into their approach, the way they approached it was interesting, shall we say, trying to drag us into deep waters, and, but it didn't quite work out, and we won.
The limbs at the end, Brighty, were fantastic, and you could see, like people say, the League Cup is fourth priority and all that nonsense, which I guess it is, but it meant a lot, that winning goal, to a lot of people inside that stadium.
We all know how much Mikel Arteta just loves winning, and this team loves winning, and winning a trophy, albeit the one that's the least important out of the four that we're still in. Quadruple's still on, by the way, guys. We want to win this trophy, and you can tell by team selection, but also by the way the gaffer speaks to the press.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
exactly. When I'm on podcasts, I sometimes say in the past, well, you know what, I'd rather give up the League Cup because I want to focus on the league and the Champions League. But if you saw me pogoing in the stand last night, that was a complete contradiction. It means a lot to win.
Is there a tipping point though for you both, I guess, when it comes to the League Cup? Because early rounds in the League Cup, I guess people are a little bit indifferent about it. But then, is there a tipping point when you start going, okay, we've come this far in the competition, we want to go on and win it now?
Semi-final, yeah. Semi-final. Get to the semi-final, you don't want to get beat in the last four. And look, we're in it now, and look, we have a chance here. Arsenal have a chance to do something that we've never come close to doing before, and that's to potentially win 4 trophies. Now, it feels a long shot still, but the truth is, and you know this, Clive, you know this, Brighty, Arsenal are favourites at the moment to win all 4 of those competitions. So we can dare to dream.
Yeah, I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it a little bit further down the road.
Shake.
Yeah. We're all getting
Adrian, what are you doing?
ridiculously carried away here. But let's talk about the game then last night. It wasn't blockbuster per se like the first one, although the first one, the first one still gets on my nerves anyway. Because we let them back in it. Like, if we're being honest, they should never have had 2 goals. But it wasn't. It was a completely different game. But did killing the excitement, Clarky? Do you think it helped us, or do you think it helped Chelsea? Where's your mind?
Look, I admired the game plan of Liam Rossini. I think it was smart. He obviously congested the middle third of the pitch. So basically they squeezed up Chelsea, didn't they? Quite high, put everybody behind the ball and said, you're not passing through us. And we did struggle to pass through them. We barely did it at all. We really didn't get into the final third very often in the entire game. So in that sense, Chelsea's game plan was good, because it did negate us. But you've got to win, and they didn't win, and you've got to score goals. And I think he flicked the switch a little bit too late on the hour mark. He went to 4-3-3, and then a few minutes later he went 4-2-3-1, and you thought, right, they're really going to go for it now, Chelsea, and they didn't. And maybe they didn't because we're so good without the ball. And so I think that's my assessment of it. Rossini, I think, showed that he's a really smart coach. But ultimately, if I was a Chelsea fan, I wouldn't be happy with that game plan, because they didn't come close to winning it.
Yeah. Clive, do you think that Rossini was almost expecting Mikel and Arsenal to go for the jugular a bit more, and that's the tactic that he employed?
I think maybe Mikel thought Rosenior would go for it.
Right, so the other way round.
He picked 3 sort of sprinty forwards to maybe get into them. And I thought they were quite smart, the psychology before the game. Adrian spot on about congesting the pitch, and they were saying to Arsenal, go on then, take a risky pass inside. And we just kept moving around the back. And some of our build-up play was so accurate. You know, unlike Manchester United, it was so accurate. And we kept finding exits, finding our way out around, and saying, no, we're not, that's not ready, we'll come back again. And it didn't lead for a good spectacle, but tactically, for coaches, it was fantastic, you know, the way they nullified each other. And so, I think Rosenior, for me, it showed me something, Age, I don't know if you agree with me, that all these coaches now want to test themselves against Arteta. They see him as the benchmark. So what can I do to get close to him? What do I need to change my plan? This is a huge compliment to us. The rest of the world is not seeing this, but it will soon become apparent how the coaches respect him so much.
Yeah, I think... well, they're respecting Arteta, but they're respecting the team, the quality of the team. City did the lowest block in the history of Pep Guardiola's management career. Liverpool came and didn't try to score a goal. They put Wirtz up front, played with a full, they basically played strikerless. We've seen a cup semi-final. Chelsea desperately needed goals, and they played with a 5-4-1. This is all a nod to Arsenal. Those people that say that Arsenal are boring themselves because it's a garbage opinion. Look at Arsenal in the Champions League, where we come up against opponents that worry about their own game. We are entertaining, we score goals, we play great football. The English clubs are scared witless of Arsenal, and no one wants to come and attack us. And that, unfortunately, makes for sometimes dull spectacles. But ultimately, we're getting points, we're winning games, and Clive's right on all of that. And what I wanted to see, maybe a little bit earlier, was us go longer, because they had that highish line. And it took us about half an hour to flip one over the top, and you remember Gabriel Martinelli got in, and he probably should have done a little bit better. And in the second half, we went long quite a lot. The quality of those passes weren't great, but it was a good tactic, because what normally happens if you start turning a defence, they get sick of that, and they're like, right, we're dropping off a little bit, and that's what we wanted. So I thought it was a tactical sort of chess match, but ultimately Arteta wins that duel with Rosenior, because we win the game.
You